Hey, Motorman here with my tip of the week. This week we're going to talk about riding in gravel and sand. I get so many questions about this, and I'm going to give you the do's and don'ts. Come on, let's take a ride. Okay, here's the first stop I'm going to make. What you see here is what we call in Florida sugar sand. If you are dumb enough to take a 900-pound motorcycle through this, please hand in your membership card in the human race because you're too stupid to live. You will get about 5 feet and the bike will sink into the sand. You'll start spinning the tires trying to get out of it, and you'll wind up breaking your belt. Don't do it. I have to believe that anybody who's watching this video is not dumb enough to go into something like this. Even on a dirt bike, you're going to have to really gas it, get your speed up about 20 miles an hour, stand up on the foot pegs, keep your head and eyes up, and look where you're going, and you'll probably still fall. On a dual sport or an adventure tourer, you are going down in sugar sand. That's just the way it is. Stay out of things like this. All right, let's move along. All right, now let's talk about gravel, because I get so many people asking about riding in gravel. Don't do it. If you bought a 900-pound motorcycle to ride in gravel, you bought the wrong motorcycle. Now, I got a letter from somebody recently, or an email, and the guy says, yeah, I've got a driveway. It's about a quarter mile long. It goes uphill. It has several curves, and there's a cliff on each side of the curve, and there's these giant boulders on the drive that I have to go around, and I keep falling over, and it's really hard to pick up the motorcycle, you know, in the gravel, because your feet slip and everything. And boy, you know, on my Ultra, it's tough. And then when I got to get into the garage, it's a tight right-hand 90-degree, 180-degree turn. I'm thinking to myself, are you kidding me? This is where you live, and you bought a 900-pound motorcycle. You should have got a dirt bike, a dual sport, anything but what you bought. So how do you do it? Well, in the situation you're describing, you're going to have some serious problems. You're going to keep dropping the bike. But normally, if you're riding in gravel and you have to ride a short distance in gravel, if it's very deep gravel, which a lot of times you'll run into that, there isn't any gravel around here, by the way, otherwise I'd demonstrate it to you. I do, however, go over this in depth in my Surviving the Mean Streets video. But anyway, there's no gravel around here for me to demonstrate that. So if you're riding in gravel and it's deep gravel, it's better to go 10 miles an hour than 5 miles an hour. And the reason I say that is because at 10 miles an hour, you're sort of floating above the gravel, even on a big, heavy motorcycle. If you get down around 5 or less, which a lot of times your brain is going to tell you to do, well, you're going to sink into that gravel. And if you turn the bars at all, that front tire is going to sink into it, and you're going to go down. It's as simple as that. Another tip in gravel is try to use that friction zone. Stay off the front brake. If you hit that front brake, you're going down in that gravel. And again, it's going to be hard to pick up that motorcycle in the gravel. So the rule is go a little faster than your brain tells you to. You want to try and make any turns very wide, and you want to try to stay above that gravel so the bike is floating above it. If you can avoid it, gravel road, please do so. Now, if you're cruising along with your friends and you're on some back road you're not familiar with, and suddenly it turns to gravel, the best thing to do is turn around and go back the way you came. These bikes were not designed to ride in gravel or sand or off-road at all. The tires aren't made for it, and a heavyweight motorcycle is not going to do very well in it. Now, if you happen to know that the particular road, the dirt road, it maybe only goes for a half mile, or it's gravel and it goes for a half mile, and then you're out of it and it's a shortcut to someplace, well, then use those tips that I just gave you. Go a little bit quicker than your brain tells you to. Like I said, 10 is better than 5 in gravel or dirt. Use rear brake only. Keep your head and eyes up. You tend to really look down a lot when you're riding in you know, poor conditions, you want to look just a few feet in front of you. Now here's a road here that's this particular road. I'm familiar with it. It starts off, at one time it was paved, and then it turns into dirt and then some sugar sand. I will not go down this road. There's no reason to go down to it. I can go around it, even if it's a couple of miles out of my way. If I ran across this and I didn't know where this road goes or what it was like, I'm going to turn around and go back where I came from. I can't think of a single reason why you wouldn't do that. Just turn around and go back the way you came. Well, unless maybe there's a horde of zombies coming up behind you, and in that case, I think I'd still take my chances with the zombies rather than going down a road like this that I'm not familiar with. And don't forget, you got to shoot the zombie in the head. Now, grass like this, it's not really a problem as long as it's flat and straight. If it goes uphill, yeah, you're going to have to get a running start, and you got to be really good with the clutch and throttle to avoid spinning the tires on grass. If the grass is wet, that's just about impossible to do that. So avoid going off-road on grass as well. Across the street here, this road I'm very familiar with. I've been on it on a dual sport that I had. There's ruts and big rocks and then some sugar sand. No way, nothing could make me take my bike through that. Not a 900-pound motorcycle. Don't do it. If you absolutely have to go on a road like that, you better keep your head and eyes up. You better look way ahead of your path of travel. If you're looking down at the front tire, whatever's happening 20 or 30 feet in front of you, you won't be able to avoid. This isn't brain surgery, folks. It's simple stuff. These bikes were not meant to go off-road. Now, we had our motor officer training. They made us go into the woods. Now, the area that we went into, there was a lot of pine trees, and it was sand, but the pine needles covered the sand, so you could actually get by doing it. And then they took us into some sugar sand, and of course the motorcycle sunk right into the sand. And the guys who were revving the motor and spinning the tires in the sand, they broke their drive belts, and it costs a lot of money. Of course, it's not their money, it's the agency's money. But the reason, I asked one of the instructors, why would you take us off-road on these bikes? And they said, we wanted to show you that you should never go off-road with bikes like this. And that makes a lot of sense. There's no reason, even as a police officer, if you're chasing a suspect and he goes into the woods, you stop there, you wait for the SUV backup that you called on the radio, and you let him go after him, or you wait for the canine unit, whatever you got to do. You just don't want to take a bike like this off-road. It doesn't work. If you got one of those driveways that goes uphill in gravel or sand or whatever horrible off-road conditions for a couple of 100 feet, save up some money and pave your driveway. If you're just renting the place, well, you should have thought about that before you got the 900-pound motorcycle, and you should have got a dual sport. And I can tell you this, even on some of the bigger dual sports like the BMW, the GS 1150, they weigh 550 pounds, and then you had saddlebags and stuff like that. You're talking about a bike that's probably over 600 pounds. That's not going to do well in thick sand or sugar sand or even steep gravel. But you could get by with it if you have the right tires on it. Usually the stock tires that come with it aren't good for that purpose, for actually going off-road. They know that people who buy those motorcycles are going to do 90% of their riding on pavement. And I think that's what they call them 90-10 tires, because it's 90% for the road. They're for going across, you know, packed dirt, things like that, no problem with those big adventure tours. And I know I've seen some guys, some people that teach the BMW off-road course, and they can do some amazing things in mud and deep sand with those big GS bikes. But That takes lots and lots of skill, lots of practice, and lots of drops. You go off-road, you are going to drop the bike a lot, even if you've got a dirt bike that's meant for going in the dirt. My son is a very skilled dirt bike rider, and he's gone through some of the sugar sand trails that we have here, and he knows that stay on that throttle, keep that bike moving, smooth motions with the handlebars, stay off the sides of the dirt or sugar sand, and still you drop the bike quite a bit. And I did myself too when I took a dirt bike in those conditions. That's just the way it is. You have to accept that if you're gonna ride off-road. Now, like I said, you see here the grass, that's not much of a problem. If you get into some mud, you are in serious trouble with an 800-pound motorcycle. Stay out of there. But smoothness is the key. You don't want to use abrupt movements of the throttle or the brakes, and off-road you want to stay off that front brake. Now I need to tell you, we have the video Surviving the Mean Streets. It's about an hour-long video, and we combine that with Shortcuts to Riding Like a Pro. You still can get both of those for 20 bucks plus $5 shipping in the continental United States. It is the best $20 you will ever spend on your motorcycle. In order to get this deal, because it's not on the website you're going to pay another $10 more. You're going to have to call our toll-free number, 866-868-7433. And you'll probably be speaking with my wife Donna. She's a nice person to talk to, very knowledgeable. It's not some operator who has no clue what they're selling or what they're talking about. It's either her or me that's going to answer the phone. So get both of those videos for 20 bucks. In the Surviving the Mean Streets video, I tell you all about why you did particular exercises. In fact, I show you the exercises and I relate them to real-world situations. We film most of that on the street, and there are some great tips on riding in the rain and even riding off-road. In fact, in that video I took my Harley on a horrendously bad, muddy, rainy, potholes-filled lime rock and dirt road, and it took me about 3 days to clean that bike up. So I'm not going to do that for this video. If you want to see me do that, you got to spend 10 bucks. In fact, spend the 20 bucks and get both the Shortcuts to Riding Like a Pro and Surviving the Mean Streets, and we'll get it right out to you in the mail. Those are both DVDs, by the way. And you can call 866-868-7433 from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week, and that is Eastern Standard Time. So don't call me from Australia at 2 o'clock in the morning. Nobody's going to answer the phone. That's 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And if you enjoy these videos that I put out, usually 2 a week, sometimes 3 a week, I hope you would subscribe, give me a thumbs up, click that notification bell so that every time I come out with a new video, you'll be told about it in your email immediately. Until next time.